Hey everyone, welcome back. This week we need to make some materials for the cabin. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the sawmill. I'm going to show you how the sawmill works. We're going to produce some material so that we can get going on some of the projects we have up at the cabin. Before we do that, we need to get the sawmill dug out. Come along for the ride. So in our last video, we got a comment from somebody who wanted to see more of us shoveling. I'm not sure if they didn't believe that I actually do the shoveling, or if they wanted to enjoy watching me suffer. Either way, the next 45 seconds is for you. We really do enjoy hearing from you all. It's been fun to see the little community of people from all over the world. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from today. And if you enjoy watching us suffer from the comfort of your couch, make sure you hit that like button. Alright, I think that's good.
Alright. Have we accomplished everything you wanted to right now, or do we want to try to
I think tomorrow the starter's freezing up again, so I'm going to need to put the buddy heater on it again tomorrow to try to get it.
Oh, the Wood-Mizer?
Yeah. Alright, so we got the little buddy heater down there warming up. We'll leave the cover on here. It'll warm up the whole cutting head. I used the same method this fall because I forgot to drain my water lines, so I thawed them out so that I could make sure that they were drained and didn't stay frozen all year. So hopefully this works. We'll get it fired up and be good to go. Alright, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna give it a go. See if I can get it started before I get the cover off, so in case it's not good, then we'll be able to cover it quick. Ooh, promising. Sweet, we're running. Alright, we're ready to get milling. Just want to give you a few details on the sawmill itself. I had a short this summer that went kind of crazy. I had lots of questions about the mill itself, so try to answer a few of those along the way. This is a Wood-Mizer LT15. It's their standard one. They do make a wider version. Where we're at, we don't have very large logs. There was a video I did this summer of a log that was a little too big for this mill that we had hauled in and we milled up, so that was fun. You can go take a look at that one. So the Wood-Mizer, the LT15 here is Wood-Mizer's fairly basic line. It is not a cheap unit, but over time we figure it would pay for itself. As we continue to do work around the property as well as up at the cabin, milling our own material, we do have an abundance of trees around here. And so that's usually not the issue, but with lumber prices fluctuating as they have been, sometimes it's really worth it to do what we need to do with the mill here. This version of the Wood-Mizer is run with a 19-horse Kohler motor. Have had no problems with it. A few idling issues originally. I think that was just bad fuel. And so once that cleared up, we were good to go. Been a great mill for us, done a great job, pushed through a lot of good material. I've learned a lot. I did a little bit of milling before owning this mill, but very, very little. So I've made some mistakes along the way. I try to do most of my milling in the summer. But since we have 6 months of winter up here in Alaska, that's not always possible. So a few of the things that I need to work on milling today for the cabin, some of the side panels for the outhouse. We're going to use the old deck floor from the old cabin as the framing for our house, but we're going to still side it with rough sawn material that we mill up. So I need some more of that. I have some done, still need some more. We're also going to be doing the tongue and groove boards for the loft floor, and I'll do a whole video on that later once we get around to that. But when I look at the dollar per foot of material that it costs to buy the flooring we want for up there, definitely worth our effort in doing that. So stay tuned for that video. That'll be coming out later. But today I'm just getting the rough material cut, and then we'll put it to work. All right, if any of you are curious, these are pretty basic units. Not a lot to them. I'll give you a little bit of a walk around here. So it's a band sawmill, so it runs this band saw. These blades are about 25-30 bucks a piece, so they're not super cheap. They do last quite a while. I can usually mill for probably 4 or 5 hours on one before I need to swap it out. Starting with this one today is not fresh, so see how that goes. But just some basics on the inside here. They run off of these two big wheels that are run by that main Kohler motor, belt drive. So really pretty simple in the processing of what happens in here. Again, I've had no issues with this whatsoever. Lined things up from the factory and then we were good to go. All right, we'll bring it around to the other side here. Like I said, it's the Kohler 19 horsepower motor. With it being the size that it is, it does not have a pull start, so it is electric start. So have had a few issues with that, but mostly just because of the freezing, and assuming that's because I left it uncovered for a while and got some moisture in there. But really simple. We got a fuel tank down there, a water tank up top there. That's used for lubrication. I use that in the summer. In the winter, I don't think that it's that worth it. A lot of people run windshield washer fluid in there, but the value of that would just be pretty spendy, so I don't bother. It might mean that I wear my blades down a little faster, but I don't think it would pay out in the long run. So this electric start has a big battery on it, so that's a good thing to go. As far as the operation of it, it's just a crank adjust for the height of the blade. There are measurements you can see there. the rough measurements, but usually what I go off of for things. So just crank it around. Every crank is 2 inches difference, so making 2x material, do 1 pass, crank it down 2 inches, and you're good to go for the next one. Just push drive. It does come with a rope drive system for this, and that's what this crank here is for. I never bothered installing it. It's really simple to push it through. Also allows me to stay focused more on the blade itself and the material that it's cutting to make sure that I don't do anything that I shouldn't. So really pretty simple system. Have enjoyed it. I've had the mill here for about 2 years now and really enjoyed the stuff that I could produce with it. As far as clamping down the logs go, it's really quite simple. There's a number of these dogs along the rail here depending on the length of your log. The first 3 here have wheels on them. It makes it easier to be able to rotate the log after you make your first cuts. So those 2 get pushed up as a backstop for that. Log pushed against that, and then we just use this this clamp over here. So yeah, get that up into place and then just tighten it down. And that's it. When it comes to laying out a log, you're kind of at the mercy of the smallest end of the log. The other butt end on this one is quite a bit bigger, but so this one was about 8.5 by 8. So generally the cant, or the squared off piece of wood that I can get out of this, is about 2/3 the size of the diameter. So with an 8-inch diameter, that's going to be about 5.25 of a cant that I could get out of that. If it was 9-inch, it'd be 6-inch by 6-inch that I could get out of this. Sometimes it's easier depending on what I need for material. If I need 6-inch wide material, I'll just go with a 4x6 and then can cut 4 1x6s or 2 2x6s or whatever it is that I need out of this. So generally cut full dimension, so 2x4 is a 2x4, which is awesome. Really easy on the math when you're building, and enjoy working with that. So all right, we'll give you a little operator perspective here to see what it's like to run a mill. You can tell here on this one, I cut this one at 9 inches to start with. So I didn't actually cut anything here at the beginning, but then obviously the end here gets a lot bigger, so I got these little pieces cut off. And, see how much bigger the piece got towards the end there. So this doesn't go to waste. I put all this to use. It all is used to heat my shop. I cut it up as firewood, and we'll use that next winter to heat the shop. So still have a stash from before that we're using this winter. So I'll keep ripping this side down 1 inch at a time until I get about 6 inches worth of good wood, so that I know that I can get my 2x6s out of it. This one again, a lot of this end of it's pretty worthless, but there's some good wood over there, so I'll throw that one off to the side. I'll clean up the edges, we'll cut it a little shorter, and we'll still be able to use that as some 1x material. 2x6s I need really only need to be about 7.5 feet long. So at 7.5 feet, I can still get my 6 inches there. So we'll call that good. We'll flip it over. All right, my last cut was at 8 inches. And so we're going to start this side at 7. One cool feature on this one is the large lines are 1 inch marks. These are your odd ones, these are even, so 8, 7, 6, 5, and so on. There's also that measurement there, just to give a rough idea. And now we'll take it down to our 6 inch final width. One thing that's important to make sure you are careful of is making sure these are not too high. So if they end up too high, you'll hit them with the blade, and then that is the end of that blade. It doesn't appreciate cutting through steel very much. We're about 8.5 inches again. Again, the end of that doesn't matter that much because we don't need the full length. So we'll start at 9 inches. And we'll see what we can do. All right, so out of that 8.5-inch log on the small end, I was able to get 4 of my 2x6s. And I know I said that I normally do full 2 inches by 6 inches for my 2x6s, but these ones are going to be the loft floor. I'm going to end up planing these down, sanding these down, and then putting tongue and groove edges on them for the loft floor. So the final thickness isn't super critical. I'm hoping to still get a good 1.5 inches by the time that it's done. But they will serve their purpose. So I'm going to get these hauled down to the shop, and we're going to go get them drying out in there, since they don't dry out very well out here where it's freezing. So let's get moving. If you have any other questions about the mill, let me know in the comments, and I will try to do my best to answer those for you. All right, I think I got about 15 of those 2x6s, some 1x6s, a couple $100 worth of materials, and a couple hours worth of sawmilling. So happy with the progress today. It's dark, so we'll see you on the next one.